You're listening to the new WCEG Network on WCEGTalkRadio.com. Click the live stream tab or watch us live on your smart TV on YouTube on the WCEG Network. I'm Wardell Richardson, your host right here on WCEG the Hollywood of the South for the next hour. We're the worldwide community empowerment group where we speak life into the community. Follow us on Facebook and on Twitter and on Instagram under WCEG underscore talk underscore radio. That's WCEG underscore talk underscore radio. And at WCEG Network. That's WCEG Network. Last but not least, the topics and opinions are those of the show hosts and guests and not those of WCEG Network. I am Wardell Richardson, actor, producer, director, writer, host of WcegWood Hollywood of the South, and CEO of Rain Dance Film. Thank you for tuning in. I'm excited about my show today. I have an incredible actor that I met doing another movie earlier this year, so I'm very excited about bringing him on. But before I do, I have to remind everyone to please go and check me out on Amazon Prime. Now, I recently went and looked at some of the movies that I have been promoting are no longer on there, but there are several movies that are on there. One is Addiction by Subtraction. Make sure you go check that out. That's a psychological film talking about the id, the ego, and the superego. There used to be a stage play that made it into the movie. I'm the lead character in that. Make sure you go check that out. Make sure you watch that from the beginning and make sure you focus on it because it's some heavy duty words in there. I had to go and research just to be able to understand what I was saying. So make sure you go and check that out. Secondly, Flesh. Flesh is a movie based about human trafficking. It's a really great film. Make sure you go and check that out. I love that project. Has some great talent in it. I had a great time doing that. And I also produced that film. So please go and check that out. The 30-Day Rule, which is a romantic comedy, that's an award-winning film. I received an award for it, and it's a well-liked movie. I have so many people calling me about that film, The 30-Day Rule. Make sure you go and check that out. Playing opposite me, my wife is the incredible Dominique, who is a star on Insecure out in LA. Before she left and moved out there and just blew up, she was doing a lot here in Atlanta, and when she played my wife in that film, make sure you go and check that out. She's an incredible actress. We did our thing. I also promoted it a lot on my social media platform on IG, clips of the movie and everything. So make sure you go and check out my IG story, my IG page, and make sure you go and look at the film, The 30-Day Rule. The Tree Widow. I didn't even know that was on there. It is on there. I did that movie with the wonderful Allison Newman Mill, who's a legend in the industry. She's been in the industry, I can't even count, over 40 years plus. Starred opposite Diane Carroll way back in the day. She is an incredible actress and cast me to play opposite her in this film where I am a younger man vying for the love of an older woman. It is an incredible film, a lot of biblical references in it. So you definitely want to go and check that out. I love doing that project. It is something that you definitely won't forget if you go and check it out. A Killing Secret is my first directorial debut film that I did with a woman named Sheena Shishi Harrod. It was her film. She asked me to direct it. We directed it here in Atlanta. She's now in LA, and the movie, from what I understand, has done very well on the circuit and has won many awards. So shout out to Sheena for that. That was my big first directorial debut. On Tubi TV, you can find a movie called Rabbitous. It is a horror film, and my first time playing this particular type of character. So if you want to check that film out, make sure you go to Tubi TV and see this incredible film called Rabbitous. I actually play opposite the incredible Rodney Perry, who I interviewed a year ago, I think, on the show. So go and check out Rabbit is an amazing film. It's a horror film, and it was my first time playing this particular role. So I'm not going to give it away. Just go check it out. I think you're going to love it. Now, with that being said, I have a lot of other projects coming out. I don't know what what movies will be coming out and where they'll be going. But as I find out, I will let you guys know so that you guys can tune in to go check out some of my movies and stuff. Because I enjoy doing my doing films. I enjoy playing a different array of characters. And also, people always ask me about the movie The Last Time. It is going to be coming out soon on DVD or on a website. I talked to Tiffany Hill, who's the executive producer. It is going to be put out very soon, and I'll be able to promote that and let everybody know where they can go and see that. So please go out and check out The Last Time when it comes out to fruition. My guest is coming on here soon. So before I let him on, I just want to give a few more updates before my guest gets on. The Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, is doing very well in the box office right now. 205 million at the domestic box office, 350 million globally. It's the 7th film in 2022 to surpass the $200 million mark in North America sales. Black Panther cost $250 million to produce and at least $100 million to promote. It'll need to sustain its momentum through Thanksgiving weekend and beyond to justify its price tag and to crack the $1 billion mark. So shout out to Black Panther. Is doing very well. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm planning to see it this weekend. I just haven't had the time, but I definitely want to go see Black Panther. I am a huge fan of that movie, and I can't wait to see it. People be trying to tell me little tidbits of it, and I just shut them up real quick because I don't want to know anything. But I look forward to seeing it this weekend. I'm probably gonna go see it with my daughter, but I can't wait. Now, also, rest in peace goes out to Takeoff of the Amigos. Listen, I talk about this time and time again, and I can't say it enough. Senseless violence is just not the answer. We have got to take control of what we're doing out here. It doesn't make any sense to pull guns over senseless stuff. If you don't like somebody, just walk away. If you don't want to be around somebody, just leave them alone. If somebody annoys you, it doesn't even matter the situation. It doesn't have to resort to you pulling out a firearm and actually killing someone, because now that person is gone and you're going to be locked up for life, more than likely. Now, what's the point of that? What is it? Is it just to make a point that you tough, that you bad? It don't make you look good to do this. So please, people, violence is just not the answer. It's just not. And if you have a problem with somebody, just talk it out, and come to a conclusion. But out here in the streets trying to, be cool and stuff in front of the females and trying to get people to have street cred, all that. I know about all that stuff. Please, people, don't do it. It doesn't make any sense. There's so many rappers in the past few years that passed away senselessly. It doesn't make sense. So we have to control the narrative. These record labels are putting insurance on these rappers because they know that in a matter of time they're gonna get killed. That's the whole thing. They have insurance on the rappers, $1 million insurance claims on rappers because they're hoping that they get killed so that they can collect the money on them. People have to think about what they're doing and think about the families and the people you are affecting when you do certain things. And I just honestly don't think people think through that, but we need to start because this is just crazy. It's crazy. But enough of that. One more thing I want to say, December 6th is the runoff for Herschel Walker. And Warnock, please go out and vote. I've expressed this the last time I had the show to go out and vote. This is for the Senate seat. Early voting is by county or cities. There are different dates, but please go out. If your city is doing early voting soon, please go out, vote. December 6th, vote. You vote. You have no idea how important this is. And I'm just gonna say it. I do not want Herschel Walker in office. I just don't. If y'all see any of his interviews and everything, you will understand why. Don't vote that man in office. Just please don't vote that man into office. Okay. Now, with that being said, I want to introduce to you a guy. So I was not too long ago did a movie earlier this year called Keeping Secrets. Shout out to Miggy Keys and Kathy Taylor for giving me this role, and I had a great time. And doing that, I happened to meet one of the lead actors in the film by the name of, I hope I don't butcher his last name. If his name is Dean Khandjian. I hope I said it right. So with that, without further ado, I would like to introduce you to Dean Khandjian. Dean, what is up, man?
Wardell, what's up, bro?
I'm so glad to have you on here. Listen, I totally apologize for everything. I already apologized to you before because I got the time kind of messed up. But I am glad you're here. You're a busy man. You was doing ADR and everything. I hope that went well for you.
Oh yeah, that was fun, man. It was one of the better ADR sessions I've had.
Okay, cool. And then, well, for people who don't know what ADR is, that's when you got to go and lay the voice down to some of the stuff you've done in the past. So, in some scenes, it's noisy. It's a lot of stuff in the background, and you got to go into a studio where you can lay down your voice to the videos and stuff, or the scene that you shot. To some people, it's kind of difficult, and it is kind of difficult, especially if you just go off the whim a little bit. You have to go back and watch the scene again and kind of remember how you said what you said and what exactly did you say. But at the end of the day, it's necessary for a lot of film projects. If it's done right, you can't even tell the difference when you see a movie. So congrats on you for everything you got going on, my man.
Thanks, dude.
No problem. Now, before we get started, I want you to just give everybody a little bit about your past, where you from, and if you're not from here, how did you wind up here in Georgia?
All right. Take it back to a dark night, August 15th, 1989 at Northside Hospital. That's right. Born inside
so you was born here in Georgia?
Yeah, dude. Born inside the perimeter, too. I can claim that.
All right. See, Northside. See, I was born at Piedmont. See, everybody be like, so you was a Grady baby? Nah, I wasn't a Grady baby. You know what they say about the Grady babies?
What do they say? I forgot.
They say that's like the not so good hospital for babies. So, you know, if you a Grady baby, you know, they kind of look down on you. But I was born at Piedmont Hospital, so they say I was born at the bougie hospital.
Okay. So what does that mean? Northside?
Northside is bougie too.
Oh shit. Well, I mean, I spent my first 2 years in Ackworth, from what I was told, unless my parents were just lying to me, but they wouldn't. Okay. So yeah, I was born here, lived in Ackworth for 2 years. My dad was in sales, so we got transferred around a lot. So we went from Ackworth to Phoenix, Arizona. Well, more specifically, Chandler. And I think I was there until I was about 5. And then we moved back to Fayetteville, south, you know, down south in Fayette County. Okay. And I was there until 2nd grade. And then I moved to Murfreesboro, Tennessee, suburb of Nashville.
Okay.
only there for 7 months. And mind you, I was in Christian private schools from the beginning to graduation.
Oh, wow.
So everything was very controlled and felt kind of sterile, and you had to have short hair and this and that. And so I kind of broke out and went my own direction.
Right. So how did you wind up getting into, because at some point you say you went to Christian schools and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you got into music and into TV and film. So which one did you wind up getting into first?
So first it was, I think the first thing I ever did was a musical at church in Jacksonville, Florida, which is where I went from Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I lived there for 7 months. Second and third grade, Dad got a transfer, so we went down to Jacksonville. And so I can't even remember the musical name, but I remember some of the lyrics to one of the songs. But I was like King Josiah from the Bible or something, because he was crowned king when he was 8 years old. And that's kind of where it all got started. It's like, oh, I can get up in front of people and just like flex or whatever, or say stuff.
Right.
And so I kind of found my niche as a performer at the age of like 8 or 9.
Oh, okay.
So we moved from Jacksonville to Augusta, Georgia when I was in 7th grade. And that's where they had a bigger drama program. You know, I was more developed. So I started doing chorus, because I didn't actively seek out being in plays, because I was kind of just a punk. I was a skateboarder, surfer. I played in bands. And then moved to Augusta, Georgia, where it's all Stetson hats and Georgia boots and Sperry's, you know? And so I just kind of had to adapt. And so I had like a few polo shirts in my Rolodex, but it was mostly like O'Neill Quicksilver, DC shoes, Vans. But, you know, I was kind of a wild child. So the drama teacher took note of that. I wasn't even in his class. And so I got pulled into Oklahoma in 9th grade, which is one of my favorite musicals. Now, I was an ensemble character named Slim, and there's one of the songs is The Farmer and the Cowman Should Be Friends. And in the musical, like in the movie part, there's a that breaks out, and I'm one of the instigators of the fight. And so I had a lot of fun being on stage, having people laugh at me. Yeah. I mean, it's all kind of a big joke to me. I really didn't care either way about any of it.
But you was a kid. Mostly as kids, we just don't even really fathom, you know, what's going on. We just go with the flow.
Exactly.
So you started off in theater.
Yep.
Okay. And I tell people all the time, if you're going to start off in any part of this acting world, theater is where to start, because it is a whole different ball game compared to just being on set shooting a movie.
Oh yeah, it prepares you for film, in my opinion.
Yes, it does. Yeah,
because you already got the memorization part down. Instead of your audience are your coworkers instead of your peers. Right. They quickly become your peers if you're working on a cool set. Like we were working on a cool set together, so everyone was cool and chill with each other. Yeah. And I mean, I started playing in a band in 9th grade, and we were called Epic Nothing. It was
Nothing.
Yeah, it was supposed to be an oxymoron, because we were all about just like, I don't know, pissing people off, being stupid. And so I liked performing from a young age, like I said. So after Oklahoma, I did what's called the Reduced Shakespeare Company's abridged version of Romeo and Juliet in 10th grade. It was a 1-act play two people playing, I think, 6 characters. I was
Oh wow.
I was Samson, Juliet, and Tybalt. My best friend, who's the lead singer of both bands I was in high school, was Benvolio, Romeo. I think that's all he was. Oh, and the nurse, Juliet's nurse, I don't know, something like that. Kind of forget. So that's when because so much crazy stuff happened during the performance. Like my skirt fell off when I was Juliet, so I was just like, I was talking to this falsetto voice the whole time. I was like, oh no, don't look, I'm decent. And I just, improv, and everyone's laughing their butts off. And I was like, man, I could really get into this.
Yeah. So you started off in the theater, and then you was in the band.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when you got into the band, how long ago did you take that? Because recently I've been seeing you doing some stuff on stage. So at some point you continued it, I guess, or did you stop and start over, or how did that whole thing pan out?
Well, we Epic Nothing broke up freshman year, like all bands do in freshman year. And then we started, me and the same lead singer started a band called Stiletto Fight, because our lead guitarist, I play rhythm guitar. So I write riffs, I bang my head, and I look cool on stage. So I'm not as technical. I'm not playing guitar solos and stuff. It's not really my bag. But we ended up opening for this really big band. They're called A Day to Remember. They're like huge now in that subgenre of hard rock. We opened for a bunch of other like niche genre, like subgenres of metal, like way down, that just stuff you won't hear on the radio. We opened for bands like that. But we were like a Christian hardcore band. So we had really fast riffs, breakdowns, people were going crazy. There were mosh pits. One time I stage dove, like I dove off the stage back first with my guitar.
Oh man.
Hit some dude right here and split him open. And after he and a few people helped pick me up off the ground, because I ended up on the floor because I fell through all these people. Like I said, I was kind of a wild card. And he picked me up, and I looked at his face, and there's blood streaming down his face. I was like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "Yeah, dude, that was awesome." I still feel kind of bad. Like he probably had to get stitches. I mean, it was like a mouth. It was gaping.
Oh man. Wow. So I'm pretty sure doing music, you come across a lot of different weird situations, because y'all had a rock band, right?
Yeah. So we were, the thing is, we were, we tried to like set ourselves apart by like having, a Christian message. And so we weren't as heavy into the scene, like the music scene, like stereotypically you would expect. Because my parents were kind of not helicopter parents, but they were, with me along the way, every step of the way. They knew where I was, who I was with. And if they didn't like who I was with, then I would have to, lie to them about who I was with. But they were much with me every step of the way. So I tried to avoid the drugs and the alcohol aspect, especially in high school, because I didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't want to go to juvenile. So we're getting locked up, going to juvenile detention center. But again, like running track in high school kind of helped keep my head on straight. Like one time I went straight from a track meet to the venue to play a show with the band.
Yeah.
So junior year. And junior year, I actually didn't do any theater at all. I had my first heartbreak, and I suffered from debilitating depression. I couldn't do anything. Except like all I could do was work out, and that's where I picked up lifting weights, and I've never put them down since. So,
now, how important is fitness and, you know, being in the gym and stuff is to what you do in your career?
For me, man, it's like one of the special skills I put in my resume. You know,
Right.
speaks Spanish, plays guitar, sings, weightlifting, yoga, kickboxing,
Right.
Muay Thai, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, all of this. But for me, it helps put me in a category. My physique helps put me in a category of like action films, which is what I really want to do. I want to do action films. I want to do fight scenes. I want to do, you know, a lot of my own stunts within reason. I don't want to get hurt, but like I really want to, you know, because I'm a tall dude, and you were the only dude taller than me on set, and so it was easy to be like, I wonder what that dude's about, and so we started chatting it up.
Yeah.
So I feel like if I'm just, you know, I'm 6'3", if I'm my height and I'm like gangly, I feel like there's not a lot of, I'm just going to be like the nerdy guy or the nice hipster dude or whatever. So I feel like I need to stay in pretty good shape, you know, stay ripped more than anything, like more than size, be cut.
So when you get into film, what is the biggest thing? Like, so when you go out for roles, what are the top roles that you would try to go for? Do you like playing? Because you said you like action films, but are you more like is that something you want to do, or is that something that you have already been working on? Like, what is your niche when it comes to film?
Well, I really, I feel like my niche is really like kind of the bad boy, but
yeah, I can see that.
Who might be redeemable towards the end, you know,
Okay.
or who, you know, might be the good guy but is not so good in the end, or something like that. Always, and here's kind of where that comes from. I was always getting detention and all this crazy stuff because I would just say off the wall stuff. Like one time I was in I think AP Lit, and one of the students had something in their eye, and the teacher's like, you know, up in this person's eye, and I'm just like, fire, just for no reason. So I did stuff like that just because, you know, moved around a lot, new kid. I wanted attention, so I was the class clown. I made sure everyone knew I was in the room. All right.
Right.
Plus, I'm Armenian. We're really loud. We want you to know we're here, right? So I made every effort to just be the life of the party, if you will. And so that kind of, well, that being said, I was always kind of mischievous, and I always had this shifty-eyed look in class, like I was up to no good.
Yeah.
Kids would be coming up on the other side of the classroom, and I'd just be like twiddling my thumbs. It's like, Dean, what do you stop talking? I'm like, I wasn't doing anything. So I was getting in trouble for stuff. But I brought that on myself. So
yeah, so in doing that, since you was class clown, I'm not surprised that you have been in more comedy type film projects.
I've done like the ADR session I just did. It's a comedy. It's a mockumentary style. Remember the movie Waiting with Ryan Reynolds about the restaurant?
Yeah, I do.
It's kind of like Waiting, but more mockumentary style. And so my character, you know, without revealing too much, is just like a useless restaurant stoner worker. And so I do get to do some comedy, but I really have a penchant for like dramatic acting.
Yeah.
And like with Keeping Secrets, I was able to show that side. With my role in Tyler Perry's Ruthless, I'm able to show that side. It just comes very naturally to me. Now, all my characters, like my network characters, tend to have a lot of layers, and they're usually pretty self-interested and maybe a bit psychopathic, that sort of thing.
Right.
So I don't want to say it's not a challenge, but it just comes naturally to me to be that on film. Because I'm a nice guy.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice. I
Now,
do
what's been your biggest challenge in film?
But the biggest challenge has probably been reps telling me to cut my hair and be the nice pretty boy and all that stuff. And I'm just like,
So they've asked you to cut your hair before?
oh yeah. And I did. I cut it in 2020. It was down to here at the beginning of 2020. And I skipped a little bit. So I started modeling when I was 20, and I was doing like Lowe's Home Improvement, LG phones. I had short hair for a long time. So I had this really marketable every guy look, you know. And I always just I liked the money, but I always kind of hated the work. And so
Right.
I want to kind of carve out my own little seat, even if it takes longer. I don't care. I don't want to go in being someone I'm not and just kind of hating my career, like being well off working, but not enjoying the work, you know?
Right. Okay. And so doing so your biggest challenge if they contact you and ask you to cut your hair. Now, when you did the film with me, I think you had it slick back in like a ponytail or something, right?
Yeah, I had it high and tight.
Yeah. Okay. So because I didn't even know your hair was that long until I realized you had a ponytail. And I was like, okay, he got some long hair.
I mean, yeah, dude, it's curly. So, I mean, if I get a blowout, it'll be like down to here.
I think that makes you versatile, though.
That's what I think too, because it's like I have these headshots where I have short, boring hair and I look like every other dude trying to get a role as a detective or a lawyer or something.
Right.
Like that. But I feel like having this mane kind of gives me an edge. And
Yeah.
it makes me stick out. Like when I go out on the town and stuff, it's kind of just my vibe, you know. I love hard rock, heavy metal.
Yeah.
My dad put me onto that music when I was a kid, but I could, you know, I always looked at like Motley Crue and Rat, Guns N' Roses, you know, Slash, and I was Slash for Halloween at one point. I was like, I want to do that. I want to look like that. I want to look like that. That's cool. You know, that's hip to me. I don't care what anyone else says. And so, I mean, Mr. Barry likes it. You know, he had nothing bad to say about it. I mean, then again, my character has his hair put into a military cap. But yeah, for the most part, you know, Omega likes it.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was pretty cool, especially for the role that you had. You know, I don't want to give away the movie or anything, but you know, the role that you had, it fits perfectly. You know, it gave you a different look. You know, you didn't look like you said, every other person with the little short hair. Like you just had this different look. And I remember me and you were just sitting there chopping it up and everything. I said, oh, man, that's a cool guy right here. You know, like, you know, and then I checked you out. You've done quite a bit of work. What's been one of your best favorite projects to work on?
So my favorite feature, which was also my first feature, was Keeping Secrets.
Okay.
That was a great experience, getting to do all that work on the character, and then working those rigorous hours. I mean, I think the last day we shot, we did 25 pages, and that was my most dialogue heavy day, and the most like emotionally and mentally taxing scenes. But I got to push and also going on like 3-4 hours of sleep for 2 weeks. So I was able to push myself and see how far I could really go. And so like performance wise, Keeping Secrets, I would say film wise, we'll separate it into film and TV. So TV wise, my favorite, excuse me, drinking some beer, so it's coming back a little bit. My favorite film or TV.
Try not to show that on the screen. Show that during the show. Try not to show that during the show.
Oh, my bad, dude. Sorry, long day.
It's all right.
Yeah, I would have to say my role in Ruthless. I don't want to say the character's name yet because he hasn't been introduced, but I got a pretty good spot on 2 episodes in season 3 of Ruthless, and those
Okay.
episodes are coming out in the second wave because they divide it into 11 episodes, and then they take a mid-season break, and then they release 11 more. So it's on the back half of season 3, and then season 4, the character got a name, a very significant story arc, and one happy actor who got his break. So that, and again, that character is also very ambivalent, conflicted, crazy, a bit of a psycho. And so, like I said, that's kind of what I like to play, because it's just, okay, there's all this stuff going on in the world. I have all these opinions about it. I'm just going to channel it into this character, into this scene. And I don't even really have to like substitute the other characters or the situation for like real life situations. It's just, I'm able to just use that energy and transfer it into the story, into the character.
Gotcha. So since you said Keep It Secret was your first lead role in a feature film, right?
Yes.
So in doing that project, because in that project, and I wasn't the lead, but I was one of the interesting characters in the film. I don't want to give too much away. But you got a chance to do different aspects of being in that film project. Because one of the things people can ask me about all the time is doing love scenes and different things like that. And I always tell people it is very difficult because they were like, well, I mean, how do you do that? You don't get, when you with the woman, you don't get like really into her. So I said, it is almost impossible to do that because you got cameras, sound, you got to make sure you turn a certain kind of way, look a certain kind of way, you make sure the camera see the angles, all that. You got all this in your mind.
Mm-hmm. It's not
natural. So it's not. And so I try to explain that to people. How is it for you to do certain scenes, intimate scenes, or scenes like that where you have to be in a certain place mentally, but you got all these cameras and stuff like how do you prepare yourself for those types of scenes?
Oh boy. I mean, so Keeping Secrets was my first, I think it was my first intimate scene. Yeah, I think it was, because it was there's a pretty like sexually charged scene in there, or two. And I, my co-star and I, we had a talk before, and we got comfortable with each other. And we made sure to separate, I guess not separate ourselves from the work, but separate like our insecurities from the work, and just treat it like another job. Like, we got to move these boxes. I did a lot. Right. We got to move these boxes into the truck, or we got to dig this ditch. It's just a job at this point. But again, as a character telling a story, you really have to sell it. So that's where you just kind of bring your own experience into it, and you make it believable with all the director right there and the intimacy coordinator. Like it was fun. We got pretty.
I think doing different kind of roles and doing different type of scenes, especially when you do scenes like that where you have to be intimate, and I think number one, you have to be convincing to the people who are watching. And I think for a lot of people, people who are watching, they don't seem to understand what we go through mentally when we have to do. Even we could play a psychotic person, a psychotic killer, or some type of deranged person. Or one of the most complex things to do is to actually play a person who in a movie based off of a true life story. You have to emulate somebody. Now that is probably the only thing I haven't done yet. And that is one of my biggest things to do. So what is one of your biggest dream roles that you can think of today? If somebody was to call you right now and said, D, I got the perfect role for you. I think you're going to love it. This is right up your alley. What would that be?
Are we talking like emulating a real life character, like a true story, bringing it to life, or just
no any film? Like if somebody was to call you right now, and you have this vision of a role, and you've always wanted to play this role, even before you started acting, you see someone on TV like, oh, I would love to play that role. I would love to be that character. What character would that be?
It would have to be Eric Draven from The Crow, 1994.
You know what's funny is I can see you playing that character.
Dude, I did it for Halloween, this past Halloween.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that's the movie that Brandon Lee got shot on. He was killed by a live round in the gun during one of the graveyard scenes toward the end of the movie.
Yeah, that's true.
That's part of the reason why it reached cult status. And I don't know, to me, it's just like, it's a beautiful love story. There's a lot of pain in it. There's a lot of vengeance. There's crime. So it's packed with action. Like I said, I really want to do action. Right. But with action, there's automatically drama in action. There's so much. I mean, when you get physical like that, you can't help but have all these emotions flying around. These emotions are what drive the protagonist to, go get his daughter back in Taken, or avenge his girl in The Crow. He comes back to life a year later and starts snuffing out all these crime bosses and punks that killed him and his girlfriend. And I've just kind of like that, just being like a spirit of vengeance sort of thing,
I think that is a good book. I watched that movie a couple of times. I think it's a pretty cool movie. So basically what you're saying is action style sci-fi kind of films would be a good description.
Yeah. I mean, I would take that. Honestly, that's something I would cut my hair for.
Okay.
Like, we need you to be, we're remaking, Arnold Schwarzenegger's Commando, unless they have already. I don't know. Need you to cut your hair. We need you to shave your hair and add like 2 inches to your biceps. I'd be like, done. Let's go. Zoop, zoop.
So as an actor who is, growing in this business, do you find it more difficult? And I ask this question because I hear a lot of different people say different things. Do you think it's difficult as a male to get roles as an actor, or do you feel like it's a lot easier for you because of your style? Or because a lot of people come on the show and they say it's really difficult to get cast for roles. I guess it depending on who they are. I had one person say that they have locks and they always want them to hide their locks or whatnot. They don't want to cut them. They're not going to cut them. So they have a hard time getting roles. A lot of Black women say they have a hard time getting roles. A lot of darker skinned people say they have a hard time getting roles. So I'm just, in your opinion, for you, has it been a pretty smooth ride, or has it had some difficult moments?
For the most part, it's been difficult. I would say with the exception of my breaks and my little breaks, I don't get a lot of work. I get the work I do get is consistent, it's recurring, or like for instance, I did this prank show called Double Cross with Blake Griffin in 2020, and Blake Griffin, the basketball player, is one of the EPs on it, and we're basically pranking people who think they're pranking someone. So it's a double prank, and so those producers have rehired me for several projects. Most recently, basically the next version of Punked. Remember Punked with Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah.
So the next version
that was a good show.
was good. You got to see like the real side of these people when they're getting messed with.
Right. Right.
I recently did a couple episodes of that, and I got to work with T.I., Lil Duval, Taraji P. Henson from Hidden Figures, and Fantasia. And so, like I said, those were like the relationships I made that gave me repeat work.
Right.
But in between that, it's been, I've worked with Omega on 2 projects. I've worked with Mr. Perry on Ruthless, and I've worked with the Double Cross people. They're the Scare Tactics Prank Encounters people as well. Same producers. But in between, it's hard, man. Like I don't think I've gotten any union roles through my agent, like through just
I was just about to ask you if you have an agent. Okay.
Yeah, I'm with People's Store.
Okay.
Yeah, I love People's Store. They're great. They're putting me out there, like getting me in other, in other markets because I'm union. And I've gotten callbacks, I've gotten pinned, I've gotten availability checks, but I haven't booked anything that's just like, here's a taping, it's due this date. I haven't booked anything like that.
Right.
It's hard because I feel like I know for a fact, if I hadn't been background on Ruthless, which I was in 2020, I was living on someone's couch in Decatur. I was landscaping, digging ditches, and then I get this opportunity to be background on Ruthless, and that's where Mr. Perry saw me and was like, "Can you act?" I'm like, "Yeah, I think so. I can." Yeah. He gave me a crack at it, and sure enough, but that was stroke of luck, right place, right time.
Right.
I haven't gotten anything of that caliber just by throwing something on tape, other than Faded Reunion that I did with Omega and
right.
Secrets. So everything else has just been like, we saw your work, or we met you, or so-and-so's vouched for you. But other than that, man, it's tough. Like it gets discouraging. I can't discount the blessings I do have, and like the recurring role I have, and
right
project I did with you. But I feel like it's easier for someone who is like definitely white, definitely Asian, or definitely Black to get a role than it is for like me, who's kind of ambiguous. It's kind of like they say ambiguously brown.
Okay.
So, and then, you throw the hair on top of it, and it's like, well, we'll make him the stoner. We'll make him the stoner guy, which has worked out a few times, like in some of the projects I already mentioned, and the ADR I did, he was a stoner guy. But it's hard to like, if I did cut my hair, I would just, I'd be able to do the long hair roles if I just put a wig on.
Yeah.
This is just kind of like who I am. And that's why I like to leave it. But I'm okay with being, I feel like I'm okay with being challenged to like I said, take a little more time to carve out my niche and do the art that I want to do.
Right.
So patience.
Now, are you into doing music? Because since you're an artist and you play guitar and stuff, have you been into doing musicals? Um,
I recently saw Chicago a couple weeks ago at
okay.
the theater, and it made me pine for the old days of Oklahoma, and I was Prince Stephen in Sleeping Beauty senior year. I was like, man, I kind of want to be back on stage. Like, if I got the opportunity to read a monologue for one of these productions, I'd probably take it just to do something. Sorry, not just to do, but to work in the interim between seasons or between other gigs, because it's fun. That's where I got my start. That's where I fell in love with theater.
Right.
But I mean, so one of the episodes I did for the prank show, I wrote a song. So I try to serenade someone. They don't take kindly to it, but like I wrote an original song for that, and I had to sign off on like forgot what the sheet was called, something materials waiver or something. Like, so now the show owns the song, and I'm like, you can take that song, I don't care, because it was supposed to be kind of a cheesy, crappy song anyway. So that was the first time I like got to write music for a TV show, and that was pretty cool for me. But the last time I did something like that was 2019, and I played guitar in this musical called Hedwig and the Angry Inch. It's shoot, who is it? Steven Soderbergh. It's a Steven Soderbergh musical. And so I was up on stage playing guitar. I was wearing a hat, and I had a handlebar, like a real handlebar mustache and a goatee back then. And between that and the song, I have this project I've been working on with one of my buddies since like 2019. And we've both just had such different schedules. We had the drummer drop out because he didn't want to play metal. Now this potential bass player is not answering the phone, and he has a drummer. So I've met this drummer hanging out in East Atlanta, going to metal shows at Tabernacle and Masquerade recently, and we've been talking. And so after this, I'm probably going to record a little bit and send some stuff his way and see if he digs the sound. But I would love to be doing shows this time next year, like just opening. Touring, that's optional. Like, my love is acting. That's why
I was just gonna ask you that.
Yeah, no, acting is absolutely it is the alpha and omega of my life. Right now. Music is just fun. It's a creative outlet. I love it. And I would love to be playing on stage again, just to perform, because I'll go do karaoke, Dark Horse Tavern in the Virginia Highlands, because I like to sing too. So, I mean, it's all about just performing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, I mean, it used to be I want to be seen, but now it's just I want to perform because that's what makes me feel good.
Okay. Now what's next for you, Dean? Like I told you to go by quick. We already down 10 minutes left in the show.
It's almost been an hour.
Yeah. It's time go by quick. What's next for you in the industry? I know acting is your number one thing. What's next for you in film, and what's next for you in music?
Let's see. Next in music would be linking up with the drummer, bringing the other guitarist in, and I think I have my current roommate would probably either play bass and sing or just sing.
Do you have any music that people can listen to or download? Okay.
I actually don't, man. I don't even have a recording interface. That's something I need to get going, because it would help me fill a lot of my downtime, and I'd probably be less crazy. If I had
Hey,
that.
you need to put some music out, man. Put
I
some
know,
music
man.
out there.
I know. You're gonna hear some of it. That prank show is gonna be on E and I think Peacock in the spring.
Okay. Definitely promote that because I love to watch it.
Oh, I will, dude. It's funny. Like I already saw I saw the guitar skit, and it's hilarious, man. Like it is honestly, it's some of my proudest work as far as like comedy, because it is comedy.
Right.
It's
Right.
But yeah, musically is just get a band together, write like 4 or 5 songs, and then open up for my buddy's band. I have two really good friends who have bands here, and just open up for one of them, play 4 or 5 songs. That would just be really fun. That would really I feel like that would just be some icing on the cake. And then down to the cake, which is acting. I'm really looking forward to the release of these episodes in Ruthless. I'm also really looking forward to the release of Keeping Secrets.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that myself.
Dude,
I think that's going to be a pretty dope film.
Our scenes together are going to be pretty funny, because it's like these 2 huge guys right next to you. You're bigger than I am, but like, kind of like we kind of squared off without squaring off. People
Right.
understand when they see it.
Yeah.
But I'm looking forward to those releases because I feel like that's going to put me on like a much bigger stage, so I can I can go for these Marvel roles. I can go for these Lionsgate film roles. I can go for DC. I don't have a preference for comics, so whatever. Whoever will hire me. Somebody once asked me a few years ago. Somebody once asked me, "Which director do you want to work with the most?" I was like, whoever will hire me at this point. That was before I had any credits at all, and I was like, Darren Aronofsky, Tyler Perry, just throwing some names. But yeah, just continuing. My character may or may not make it in Ruthless. I don't know. You'll have to watch and find out.
Yeah.
But
that's the one thing about TV series. You never know how the angle is gonna go, how they're gonna go with the characters and stuff until it comes out. Then you just like, wait a minute, I did a whole scene right there and they didn't even use it. So I have definitely been a victim of that.
Cutting the floor, man, it's real.
Oh yeah. So now, if you had to the listeners that are listening to the show right now, if you had any kind of advice you'd want to give to them about this industry, any positive advice, what would that be?
All right, we'll start with the good news and then we'll do the bad news. Positive. Well, it's not really bad news, but the positive would be believe in yourself. Absolutely believe in yourself against what anyone else says, especially loved ones. Because I had my own dad was like, "Dad, if you're watching, sorry," but he was like, "All right, so at what age will you be if you haven't made it or started gaining traction? Will you call it quits?" And I was like, 30, Dad. And he's like, "Okay, good." 30 rolls around. He's like, just a little longer. I feel like something's gonna happen. Sure enough, 31, Tyler Perry.
Right.
Don't quit before the miracle happens. Just don't.
Right.
I'd had this set in my mind that I would rather be the 50-year-old bartender who tried and said that he tried, because the pain of regret is much greater than anything else.
Yeah.
So I would say, know who you are, use that to your advantage, because your greatest advantage is you. No one else is you. That's how you can make it work. That's how you can make acting work.
All right.
I would say be prepared to sacrifice a lot. Time, money, friendships, God forbid, family relationships, sleep, blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, I was in 2020, I was working 14-hour days, landscaping in the heat, like in the middle of the summer, 99 degrees. You will never achieve anything worth having if you don't sacrifice a lot.
Yeah.
Sacrifice.
That is a very good quote. Very good quote. Because in this business, in film, you take a lot of time away from family. A lot of sleepless days. You could be on set for hours. I remember one time I was on set from 7 a.m. till 3 o'clock the next morning. Went to sleep for a couple of hours and had to be back on set at 7. So I will never forget those. But at the end of the day, you're tired. You just like, oh, I can't wait to go to sleep, give me some rest. And when you finish, you're just like, man, I loved every minute of shooting this film right there. That's the thing. Like when the stuff that should really bother you don't bother you, that's when you know you where you should be, or where you know, it's not, because it's not work to me. It's not, something that I don't enjoy. I'm doing what I love to do, and I'm making this huge sacrifice doing it.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So I get exactly what you're saying. What you're saying is very true. With this business comes a lot of sacrifice, and you have to be willing to make a decision on what's most important to you.
Yeah. And like when you were on set from 7 to 3, 16, 18 hours, whatever that was.
Yeah.
Closer to 20 hours, I think. Yeah, 20 hours.
Yeah.
You are, you find a new gear that you didn't know you had.
Yeah.
You find a new gear, and it's the craziest thing because you feel like you've broken through into something primal, like it's almost like a survival thing.
Yep.
It's for something you love, and that I'm glad you brought that up. That is worth it.
Yeah.
I had fun sleeping 3 hours.
Yep. All right, so we got a minute left. Let everybody know how they can reach you on your social media handles and stuff.
Okay. Oh yeah, so I deleted my Facebook a while ago. Deleted Snapchat as soon as Instagram started doing stories. So my Instagram is Dean, DEAN _ Khandjian.
Khandjian.
Said it right. You said it right. You really did.
Okay.
But you want to know how it's really pronounced? Like over in the motherland?
How?
Khandjian.
Khandjian.
Well, we're not going to do that. Like I say Khandjian on, all my auditions and stuff. Just, So that's what.
So the K is silent.
The K is silent. It's like a ha, like a CH in Hebrew.
Okay.
Like Hanukkah. So that's what my page looks like, y'all. There's the crowd there. But yeah, and anyone else listening that's in production, you can reach Tom Malam at the People's Store if you want to hire your next hippie stoner metalhead for your next role.
On that note, man, listen, Dean, I appreciate you for coming on, man. I've been wanting to interview you since I saw you on the movie. You have a great personality, great aura about yourself, man. So I know you're going to do well in this industry. So congratulations on everything you've done so far. Your music, your acting, it's all going to come to pass, man. I'll see you on the big screen real soon. I'm pretty sure about that. I'm pretty sure.
Thank you, Wardell. Thanks for having me, man. Thanks for being cool with me on set. I mean, it really means a lot, man. I've never really told my story before, my journey. So, thank you. Thank you for blessing me with the opportunity to come on and share my journey and some of my hope. And
no doubt, man.
Everyone listening, hope you know who this guy is. So
well, man, you know, I got a lot of stuff going on, and I look to be working with you sooner or later again on maybe one of my sets. So, you know, hey, man, I look forward to it. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, this is Wardell Richardson right here on WCEG Wood, Hollywood of the South. We have just interviewed my man Dean Khandjian. See, I said it with the K silent.
yeah.
Make sure you go and check him out. You know, he's got some videos on there from him being on stage, singing and everything. He's doing his thing. Every time I go on his page, I see him doing something different. I say, man, this guy's doing a bit of everything. So make sure you go follow him, check him out. I'm Wardell Richardson right here on WCEG Wood, Hollywood of the South, signing out. See you December 1st for my last show for the holidays, and I will be back January 19th of 2023. But we got one more show coming up December 1st, and I will be seeing you then. Peace out.